The Seahawks get ready with the Super Bowl with their first media day of the week, and the Mariners finally did the one very thing we've been asking for. We'll talk about that more on the 12th Inning Podcast. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the 12th Inning Podcast. I am Rich, joined as always by my buddy Mitch, and so like I mentioned on today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about some of that Seahawks media week, and also the Mariners signed Brendan Donovan. Mitch and I will break down the trade details later in this episode. We'll start off with the Seahawks because there's not a whole lot media weeks going on. They're all answering some questions. Mitch, have you seen any highlights that you've liked from the media week so far?
Yeah, I saw Sam ended a ham for Sam pin and a fake ham hat. That was fucking hilarious.
I'm going to start calling him Ham Darnold. Good Lord. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that there was someone who asked Mike McDonald before he even sat down. He asked Mike McDonald, okay, 45 seconds left in the game, whatever it is. You're on the 1 yard line. Do you run the ball? and Mike McDonald sat there and he was like, I'll run whatever play is best. And I'm like, okay, I can accept that answer because that sounds like he would think that it would be that because we've already said that we want to be run heavy, right? But then someone asked Sam Darnold the same question, and he said, I don't know, I think we'd still pass. And I'm like, Sam, don't you fucking dare. Don't you fucking dare, Sam. But yeah, so it has been media week, all kinds of clips and things like that going on. Obviously, the Pro Bowl will be happening, I think, what is it, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yeah, it'll be happening Tuesday, February 3rd.
I don't care about the Pro Bowl. I think it's dead. That's going to be happening. If that's your cup of tea, hell yeah, woo. I hope you enjoy it. I couldn't care less about the Pro Bowl, especially because there's no Seahawks in it. I won't lie. I'd have a little bit of an interest if there were Seahawks in it, but without that, I couldn't care less. But yeah, so it has been it's been fun seeing a lot of people get some hands-on experience with the Seahawks and kind of joke around with them a little bit. A lot of them talking about kind of their motivations and stuff. But it's been fun. That hype, it's getting there. Like we're going to the Super Bowl, dude. It's kind of crazy. But obviously with that, not a whole lot, like I mentioned, happening in Seahawks land. One thing I wanted to mention is the injury report that they had. They did release a mock injury report back on Friday, so a little bit ago at this point, but I still want to make sure we go over it because Sam Darnold was on there, Charles Cross was on there, and yeah. Sorry, I was having some trouble pulling it up. So Jake Bobo was on there, Charles Cross was on there, Sam Darnold was on there, but they both would be listed as fine. Really, the only people that would have been a problem if there were a game this week would have been Amari Knight would have been doubtful, Robbie Oots would have been questionable, Brady Russell would have been questionable, and Chaz Surratt would have been questionable. Everybody else would have been good to go. Now, why am I mentioning this? It's a week away from the Super Bowl, at least at the time of these injury reports coming out. I still think it's important to kind of know who's dealing with something, and a lot of the guys, they're healing up. They've had a week plus. They're going to start practices this week, so it will be interesting to see if that time off has helped. But yeah, so that's really all I have on the Seahawks. It's media week and there's some injury reports. Mitch, have you discovered anything or have anything that you've noticed in Seahawks land or thought of in Seahawks land since we last recorded?
No, just excited for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's kind of interesting. The Seahawks portion, we don't have a lot. Normally it's flipped, but we do have some Mariners things. We are going to go over the Brendan Donovan trade. Yes, it finally happened. The Mariners traded for Brendan Donovan, and honestly, I think the trade package was pretty interesting. Mitch, I'm excited to get your thoughts on the trade package. You mentioned you saw it earlier, but we will also, after that, I have a couple other Mariners points I want to bring up, and then we're going to go over our top 50 Mariners players. We both did our lists, and it was tough, but we will get into that when we get there. So, let's go, yes, the Seahawks traded for Brendan Donovan, a fantastic contact first hitter. He's one of the guys that you can expect to be in that top of the order. He's going to get on base and potentially be driven in as runs a lot more frequently beginning in the beginning parts of the game with players like Cal Raleigh, Julio, Josh Naylor hitting behind him, it should have the opportunity to it feels like this team lives and dies by the home run ball, and he adds a little bit of something different than that. The other thing that I like about Brendan Donovan being on this team is, realistically, when you look at this roster, you look at second base, right? Mitch, do you know who our starting second base is at this current point in time?
I don't think we have one, do we?
Well, it's Cole Young.
Oh.
Right now is who they're expecting to roll with. And he had a decent first part of the season in 2025, but I think he went 0 for 40 or something like that for the entire rest of the season, and I don't even think he was on the playoff roster at one point. So he has a high ceiling, but I would say he has a pretty low floor. He's expected to get a lot of the reps at second base, but Brendan Donovan is a fantastic option he can play second base, he can play third, he can play left field, he can go just about all over the entire field for you. He takes that Dylan Moore role, and he's able to give players like Cole Young, who's going to be getting the majority of the reps at second base. He's going to be able to help players like Colt Emerson, who is expected to make the club out of camp after only playing for, I think, a couple of weeks in AAA with the Rainiers. He made a very quick jump from, I think he started in single A and made it to double A, and then as the Rainiers made their playoff push, he got called up and did really solid. So he has the chance to do a Julio type of move where he does not spend a lot of minor league time and just comes up and is a spark for this team. And I really, really trust it, honestly. I don't know. There's something in the way they talk about Colt Emerson, about Cole Young, about Jose Ferrer, the offseason relief pickup that everybody was a little bit questionable on because he wasn't elite by any means. The trust that they have in these guys, it makes me think they've seen something. It makes me think that they've noticed something. And like in the case with Jose Ferrer, they've seen something where they're like, we can tweak that and we can make him elite. Things like that. They did the same thing with Gabe Spire. I mean, Gabe Spire is one of the most dominant lefties in baseball, and in 2024, he was on waivers, and now he's going to go pitch for the WBC. Like, the Mariners pitching lab always seems to find something that works, and so, yeah, I trust that Jose Ferrer is going to do well with the Mariners helping him out. Cole Young, Colt Emerson, I trust that they're going to do well with the Mariners helping them out, but back to the point. Brendan Donovan is a really great stabilizing force, and we honestly didn't give up a whole lot. This package included Ben Williamson going to the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays are in this, which is interesting. 3-team trades are always crazy, but so Ben Williamson went to the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm sad to see him go. He was really, really fun, had some awesome moments, but there are some questions about his offensive capabilities. He's a fantastic defender, will likely be a Gold Glove defender, but he's likely never going to be a Silver Slugger type. But he had his moments. I liked him. I'm sad to see him go, but not a huge loss there because Cole Emerson, like I said, is expected to take that third base spot. And Brendan Donovan can cover that too. So, Ben Williamson to the Rays. Then to the Cardinals, we sent Jarangela Senja, that name that you love to pronounce, the switch pitching prospect, was sent over to the Cardinals. And we also sent over Ty Pete, who was one of our first round picks, I think back in 2023, and has some awesome tools, but has a really, really high strikeout rate and just was really struggling in the Mariners organization. And honestly, I think a change of scenery would be good for him. I think he could turn into a really, really good player. So sad to see him go for sure, but also excited at the same time because I think a new opportunity is going to unlock some things for him. Jarangela Senja, I'm sad to see. Like, there's a novelty to him that I was really hoping to see in a Mariners uniform. But, I mean, the spring training, they were already planning to have him focus in right-handed pitching anyway because his left-handed pitching wasn't as good and he was having trouble with it. So that switch pitching thing, who knows? Maybe whoever takes him on next decides not to really, feed into that and just has him as a right-handed pitcher, but he's going to be a dominant force in the league for a while. So I'm glad he's with the Cardinals and not with like the Astros or something. That would be awful. So sad to see these guys go. Now, the Tampa Bay Rays sent to the Cardinals. They sent the Mariners also sent over a draft pick as well. I think it was the 67th draft pick. The Tampa Bay Rays sent over the 72nd draft pick in the MLB draft, along with one of their outfield prospects was also sent over to the Cardinals. Really, really interesting trade. Like I said, 3-team trades are crazy. As far as what matters for the Mariners, Unfortunately, they'll be down a draft pick, but that's okay. We're still going to have a decent draft pick, and the Mariners find good. I mean, Cal Raleigh with a fourth-round talent. These guys know what they're looking for. So, unfortunately, you lost a draft pick, but the players, Ben Williamson, like I said, I'm sad to see him go. Same thing with Ty Pete. Same thing with Durangelo St. But honestly, even though those are names that I really know, only one of them, or I think, yeah, only one of them is a top 10 guy. Ben Williamson was not a top 10 Mariners prospect. I know Senja was, and I don't think Ty Pete was, because there were a lot of injury concerns with him and a lot of like just straight up performance concerns. So you didn't give up a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, and you got one of the highest batting averages in the league. You got one of the just most consistent hitters in the league, and one of the top guys that was on the trade market. So the important thing with this trade is, while yes, you gave up some pretty big names as far as prospects. Like, if you're the type of person who watches Mariners podcasts and stuff, you knew who these guys were. But you didn't give up a whole lot, and you made your team better immediately. This is what championship contending teams do. They bolster up the right here, right now roster. No matter how much it costs in prospects, in money, you bolster it, you do what you can, and you prove that, yeah, we're here to win this. We were 8 outs away from the World Series last year, and we can get back there, and we can get to the World Series. And I think Brendan Donovan is a huge boost for this roster. I think the only thing now that they need is to get one more relief pitcher, and this team is one of the scariest teams in the MLB, period. When you look at the projected lineups, the balance with this team is incredible, with some young guys, with some veteran. You've got some pop with guys like Luke Raley, Cal Raleigh, Julio Rodriguez. And then you've got your contact guys like Randy Rosarena. And now you add Brendan Donovan into that. This team is going to be crazy. I know I rambled a lot, Mitch. I just threw a lot of information at you, but I also want to get your take on this trade. I know that you saw this earlier as well. What do you feel? How does this how are you? Something I want to ask you actually with this trade. Give me your thoughts on the trade, and I also want to ask, how are you feeling about the offseason before, and how are you feeling about it now with the Brendan Donovan trade being done?
That was so much information. God, I hope all of you listening followed along, because I followed only half of that. As far as how I feel about the trade, it's exciting to have someone who is not live or die by the home run ball like this team seemed to be doing last year. So it is nice to have like that contact first hitter. But as far as how I was feeling before the trade, how I feel after the trade, I'm excited. Like I said, it's exciting to have a new player on there that is going to seems to be able to breathe some life into the contact of this team. Because while they have contact, their contact is always hit it all the way or get an out.
You've got your guys like JP. You've got, like I said, Randy. Josh Naylor is interesting. He's usually more contact. He doesn't hit a whole lot of long balls, but like you've got a lot of contact on this roster. But Brendan Donovan, he's just perfect to put in that leadoff spot. It doesn't matter where he's hitting. He's likely gonna get you on base at least a third of the time. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. I think that this just makes the team so much better. It moves the needle so much for me. Before, I would have graded this offseason as like a D- or a D+, C- offseason. You know, you only signed Josh Naylor. You picked up mostly pile guys except Jose Ferrer. I wasn't impressed because you didn't get better. In fact, you had, in my opinion, gotten worse because you traded away Harry Ford. But with Brendan Donovan coming on, I think that brings it up to C+, B- for me, maybe even higher, really, if I think about it more. I think it's a perfectly solid off season, and it solidifies for me that they see themselves as contenders, and that's what matters to me. Frankly, the fact that they care enough to invest in this team right now and go for the World Series. Go win it for Rick. Go check out the Mariner Mojo shirts. But with Rick Riz retiring, we got to get him a World Series, and it's awesome to see the front office is gonna be doing that. That's about all I have for Brendan Donovan. I know I just spieled for about 10 minutes, so I hope some of y'all at home took in some of that information. There's a lot that I think there's a lot to talk about with it, and I think that it's really interesting. But Mitch, so it is the 50th season in Mariners history, and to celebrate, they are doing the 50 top greatest Mariners You get to go on the list and pick by position, and I thought that it would be fun if we would go through. We have both separately gone in and done this. We haven't really told each other too much about who we picked, and we're going to go through position by position and compare who we picked as the top 50 Mariners. And yeah, this is going to be really interesting because I'm more of a Mariners fan, but I realized there was a certain point where I was having a hard time choosing. So I might not seem like I know ball, but I'm doing my best. All right. Mitch, would you like to read us, before we go on to our players, the criteria for the 50 greatest Mariners list?
So, eligible player criteria must have one of the following. They must have played 4+ seasons in Seattle, had 1+ All-Star appearance, or more, currently leads or near the top in major Mariners statistical category, or part of an iconic moment.
And with that, let's start with catchers. Mitch, we'll have you start with who you picked for your catchers out of who was available.
So, who I picked was Cal Raleigh, Dan Wilson, and John Jaso.
Okay. And I also picked Cal Raleigh, Dan Wilson, but I didn't pick John Jaso. I didn't recognize him. And I picked Kenji Jojima and Mike Zunino as well.
Okay.
Now, designated hitters, there were only 4 potential ones. And Mitch, who did... and actually, I'll go for this one since I had you pick last time. I chose Daniel Vogelbach, Danny fucking Burgers, Edgar Martinez, of course, and Nelson Cruz. Mitch, who did you pick?
Exact same. Who the hell is Ken Phelps?
Oh, God. And that's what I mean is, like, there are probably so many players that we're not going to name where people are going to be like, how do you not know this guy? He's one of the most iconic Mariners. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I've been a Mariners fan since I was a kid, but I only really started paying attention in 2022. Okay, leave me alone. Oh, goodness. All right, Mitch, who are your infielders that you have selected?
I have Adrian Beltre, Alex Rodriguez, Carlos Santana, J.P. Crawford, Josh Naylor, Kyle Seager, Mark... Hold on, sorry. The names are really hard to read because, like, when you select them. Mark McLemore.
Probably said Macklemore, but yeah.
McLemore, whatever. Mike Blowers, Mike Ford, Robinson Cano, and Willie Bloomquist.
All right. I went with Adam Frazier just because I thought it was funny that he was on this list. I don't know if I'd realistically call him a 50 greatest Mariner, but I thought it would be funny. Adrian Beltre, Alex Rodriguez, of course. Al Davis, of course. Brett Boone, because I recognize him from the video game. Carlos Santana. I did end up going with Eugenio Suarez. I just think that the things that he's done for this team, just in vibes, I think he's one of my 50 greatest Mariners, I think, and one of my 50 favorites, at least. J.P. Crawford, I selected. I went with John Olerud, Jorge Polanco, that ALDS moment will live in my heart forever. Josh Naylor will live in my heart forever. Kyle Seager, Richie Sexton, Robinson Cano were my infielders. Now, my outfielders, this was really hard. Almost as difficult as pitching coming up. But my outfielders, I selected Franklin Gutierrez, Ichiro Suzuki, Jay Buhner, Julio Rodriguez, Ken Griffey Jr., Mike Cameron, Mitch Haniger, Randy Arozarena, Raul Ibanez, Ricky Henderson were my outfielders. And, oh, God, that was hard. Mitch, who did you end up going with?
Franklin Gutierrez, Ichiro Suzuki, Julio Rodriguez, Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. I went with both of them. I think they both deserve it. Kyle Lewis and Ricky Henderson.
That was it?
That was it.
Huh. All right. Fair enough. Well, then, how about you move us on into pitchers?
Oh, boy.
This was the hardest one for me. And I think that's just because there were so many.
So, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Aaron Sele? Andres Munoz, Arthur Rhodes, Brian Wu, Danny Fagular. I can't remember how to pronounce his last name. I know who he is, but I couldn't remember how to pronounce his last name. Ed Nunez, Edwin Diaz, Felix Hernandez, Fernando Rodney, Freddie Garcia, Gaylord Perry, Hisashi Iwakuma, Jason Vargas, Jose
Paniagua.
There you go, that guy. Kazuchiro Sasaki.
Kazuhiro Sasaki.
Yeah, that guy. Logan Gilbert, Marco Gonzalez, Mark Lowe, Mike Jackson, Nick Vincent, Paul Abbott, Randy Johnson, Robbie Ray, Ryan Franklin, and couldn't read the name, Taewon Walker, and Yusei Kichu.
Yusei Kikuchi.
Yeah, that guy.
Oh god. So listening to your selections, there are so many that I didn't pick because I either didn't know them or I just I'd heard the name or wasn't familiar with them. So I'm not gonna lie, my list of pitchers is probably gonna make me sound like a casual. Please bear with me. Andres Munoz, Brian Wu, Bryce Miller, Casey Sadler, Edwin Diaz. I did select Eric Swanson. Of course, I selected the King, Gabe Spire, Gaylord Perry, George Kirby, James Paxton, Jamie Moyer, Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo, Matt Brash, Paul Sewald, Randy Johnson, Ryan Roland Smith, and Yusei Kikuchi. Now, I want to explain myself for a second.
Real quick, just in case anyone listening to this doesn't know Mariners as well, when he said the King, that is Felix Hernandez. I can't say his name, but that's who it is.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Felix Hernandez. Sorry. He is the King. But let me explain real quick why I selected our current pitching rotation. Because I feel like that might have a lot of people scratching their heads and going like, oh, it's recency bias. Absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and say it isn't. Like I said, I really started paying attention to this team in 2022 when a lot of these guys were coming up. But looking at the numbers, just looking at these guys and the dominance of this pitching staff, not just our rotation, but guys like Andres Munoz, Matt Brash, Gabe Spire, looking at the dominance of the bullpen and the starting pitching, I absolutely think that those guys deserve to be in the list for the top 20 or top 50. And frankly, maybe if I knew a little bit of further history, I might have picked some different pitchers, but just of what I know and what I'm familiar with and the guys I know, these guys they're incredible. They're dominant in every step of the way. So yeah, that is our 50 greatest Mariners list. Let us know in the comments below if you agree, disagree. You can flame us in the comments if we made some ridiculous picks or leave some people off that you thought was ridiculous. And while you're at it, make sure you drop a follow, stick up to date with all things Mariners and Seahawks. And yeah, I think that is going to do it for us here at the 12th Inning Podcast. Mitch, do you have any other Mariners-related things that you may have picked up on during the week?
No, unfortunately, I do not.
All right, well, one last thing I wanted to mention was the Seattle Steelheads jerseys are going to be replacing the Sunday Cream jerseys for every Sunday. So, wanted to get your take on that. I'm a little sad that the Creams are going away because I have one of the Creams jerseys and I do like them, but I love the Steelheads jerseys. But I wanted to get your opinion on what you were kind of thinking about that.
They're okay. I like the Creams a little bit better, but they're not bad. They're decent.
Yeah, that's fair. I do like them aesthetically. I think what pushes them over the edge for me is this is the first MLB team to ever make a Negro League jersey and uniform set one of their main rotation uniform sets. I just think that's really, really cool, especially in times like right now. I think that's really, really important to have those stories and that history on that sort of stage. But I don't know. I just think they're so clean. There's something about the S logo I really, really love. I've been wanting one of the Steelheads hats ever since they started using them every once in a while. So yeah, that is really important to note because Sundays will look a little different. Don't know what's going to happen to the Creams if they're fully retired. Someone said that they should wear them when they're away on Sundays, which I kind of liked the idea of, but we'll have to see. But I think that is going to do it for us here at the 12th Inning Podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, again, if you have any thoughts and whatnot, we'd love for you to leave them in the comments. We always like to have conversations and everything. And drop a like, drop a follow, all those things if you want to stay up to date with the Seahawks and the Mariners and other Seattle sports as we find things interesting. But yeah, I'm Rich. This is Mitch, and we're the 12th Inning Podcast. And like we always say, Trident's up. Go Mariners.
12 is 1. Go Hawks.